All right, good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. We are live. Let's take a look at the markets. What the ES and the NQ have been doing. You know what? Let me jump over to the NQ. I've got an area here that I shaded off, pretty much right at the 25,234 down to the 25,224. We might see some kind of reaction there, but again, the first 5-7 minutes of the market open to me is just not an area that I truly enjoy trading. But what looks interesting to me here would be something like this. With an entry. Let's get rid of this guy, make it a little easier to see. At the 75. Put that up as an entry. And our stop would go somewhere right around here. And TP2 would go somewhere right around here. All right, so something on the NQ that looks TP1 and doesn't look that great. It's only about 5 points. 25,234.75 would be a possible entry. The only issue is that we've rebalanced a good amount here. So if this gets much past that 8:40 in the morning, maybe give the market about 10 minutes here to kind of do what it wants to do. Possibly would look for something here with maybe a footprint confirmation, but this would be a really small scalp. Now on the ES, left you guys with this setup yesterday on the short on the 67.88. I mean, I waited a good amount of time on this one throughout the night. I mean, we obviously were ranging, bouncing off of TP1. We bounced off of TP2. We actually swept a lot of volume that was balancing out here at the 85s. And currently, if I expand this out here a little bit, currently what we've got sitting, the 88s, which is where our entry is at, did not started falling off a little bit as far as the volume. It's I would say medium amount of volume right now. We got about a 45 to 50 contracts resting there. So I want to see once we get back into TP1 and TP2 area, if this area that was a lot of interest for the big volume market participants yesterday, if they start to step back in right here. As of right now, the 80s, which is right around here, 67 80s are very heavily defended, so we'll probably see a little bit of a fight through here. And then the 82, so right underneath our TP2, again starting to get defended. But the 88s right now seem a little bit, they definitely weaker than they were yesterday. So we're going to have to really monitor this one as price action starts tapping into TP2 again. And then as far as the ES, we do have a bunch of setups to the downside. We got a long here at the 67.36 that we're taking a look at, targeting the 67.39. So that's one. I can delete this guy. We've got another setup here, which I would consider to be probably a B plus setup B, just because there's a lot of stops right here, right where my stop loss is also set. So there's a lot of stops sitting right here, right in this middle area, which, you know, again, I'm kind of using as a defense mechanism, but at the same time, my worry is that the market might want to stretch into this big liquidity pool here and possibly knock us out. So again, I would really look for some type of confirmation there. I think we got a few more setups to the downside, but it's got to go through 2 of our setups before we can even entertain that trade. Mike, good morning. Michelle, good morning. I think I might have answered hopefully your question on the ES chart. Yeah, it's just been a kind of a roadblock right here to get through. So I know the market's been having a pretty hard time with that one. Let's see here. Let's jump over here. And then on the NQ to the upside, we do have an area right here. It doesn't really fit very well on my volume profile, and I believe the level, the 15-minute level right here, did break some structure. But if you see this wick on this candle right here, this 15-minute candle, you could see how there wasn't a strong movement to the downside. So it did tap into the volume clues that I'm looking for. It kind of tapped right back into it. So it diminished this area a good amount that, you know, I wouldn't consider at this point to be an A+ setup. Let's see. So the area that they kind of flew from was right here. It was right here. So we'll see maybe if we get some type of reaction here. As far as TPs, we've got one right here that I would say is pretty legitimate at the 25. Entry right around here. And then what I like to do with these that I consider to be like a B+ setup is I really like just to monitor them as we start getting closer to price action, closer to our entry, I should say. Stop would be somewhere right around here. Let's delete this. Let's delete this. 25. Okay, this setup above us would look something like this: the 25, 345 and a quarter. Taking a short there, that could possibly play out. Again, not a huge TP1. I'd like to see my TP1s in that 8 to 10 point range. To me, it just makes my footprint confirmation just that much more easier. Let's jump down to the 1 minute at this point. Now we could just kind of monitor this 25 234 area and see what happens here. Morning, Key. All right, let's see what happens here. All right, just missed our entry there. Swept TP1 and TP2. think we missed the entry there by about 2 points. So that diminishes the trade for sure. All right, we tapped in. We got a decent confirmation there, actually. Dang it. Dang it. That would have been TP1 and TP2. That would have been a great trade right there. Shit. So here's the confirmation. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I wasn't even on the grabbers. You got your confirmation candle right here. So you got your green footprint candle, negative delta. It's exactly what I'm looking for. But if you can see, you got that confirmation pretty much at TP1. So again, smaller trade than what I'm looking for, but the reaction was absolutely perfect, right on the dot. So right there, again, a great example of just a resting limit order gets you your TP1 and TP2 with no sweat. Might have to start leaving some resting limit orders. Seems like yesterday missed a beautiful setup early. Actually, one of my signals too that gave to my signal members and showed you guys the setup. Just tapped in, 0 drawdown. I think we had 0 drawdown on this one as well too. I think probably maybe a point of drawdown on that particular setup. So now let's take a look and see what the market's doing. All right, so it's left a pretty decent pocket right here. But again, I would want to see more. I'd want to see more movement to the downside before we entertain that. That right there is where reaction would have happened. Right there. I mean, didn't even have enough time to mark this one off, but right there is where the reaction would have occurred. You could also have another slight reaction right here. Like this guy. This scalp would look something like this, actually. Not sure if I'm gonna get time to even load this up, but with an entry right here. And a stop right there. And then your TP2 would look like something right there. All right, that's another nice little setup here. Again, I would much rather prefer the market move a little bit more down. But you've got a decent short here at on the NQ at the 25 275.50. I know it says 47, but for some reason my indicator is not rounding up to the nearest tick, so I kind of have to do them manually, which I guess I have a little bit of time to do just to make it cleaner. And then your TP1 would look at like 25 269. TP1, TP2 would be at the 265. So let's see here what happens with the price action. $275. There is a pocket sitting at the 86, 87, so right above our stop. Let's see what occurs here. Again, big pocket of volume sitting right above like the 85, 86, so right above our stop. So the one worry here is if we do blow through this this entry here at the 25 275, I would hate for it to tap into stop to this big area right here, which would be above my stop. So that's one area to be cautious with. As far as the ES, let's see what the ES has been doing. Got nothing on the ES as of right now that looks interesting. So we'll stay on the NQ. Yeah, sorry, Mike. It was a great setup. It was a zero drawdown on that one. But again, I think the only way you really get into that trade was with arresting limit order, which I've always said on the NQ, it's sometimes the easiest way to get into a trade, obviously. Confirmations on the NQ for me are a little bit more difficult. But as the day progresses, you know, if we start getting around the 9:15, 9:30 area, it starts to slow down a little bit. It makes things a little bit easier. So those first 15 minutes of the market, you know, to get a good footprint confirmation becomes a little bit more challenging. And just to give a rundown, I am currently trading with two Ninja Trader. So Ninja Trader is my trading platform and it's also my brokerage. I have two cash accounts that I'm currently trading with Ninja, and I have 5 funded accounts that are attached to, that are copy trading from my cash account. So I've got 3 accounts through Funding Ticks. I have one one funded Tradeify account and one funded Take Profit account. So the P&L that you see on the screen once we get into a trade, hopefully here this morning, it's a combination of all 7. So, and we are trading at E-mini contracts. The NQ and the ES is what we're currently monitoring right now. So I'm kind of stuck in a little bit of a consolidation here. You know, at this point, market's going to be looking for some liquidity areas where they've got one at the 25-200s for sure. So right here, they've got a pretty big area of liquidity that they're going to want to probably tap into at some point. And above us, $260s look so right below our TP. Those could be stops. Probably stops is the most likely avenue. Let's go into our trading floor here. And let's see if we can capture something here this morning. All right, nice little push into that liquidity zone that I was just talking about. For sure, going to see a little bit of a fight there. And let's see now if they show their hands as to where they're looking at. And that pocket of liquidity that I was talking to you guys about that was above our stops are sitting at the 90s. So right above here. Let's see if I can do this here. There's a pocket sitting right here that I've got to be very conscious of. So that's a good reason for a confirmation here at the 25-275 area. But another play too would be is if we do get up into this area and they haven't rebalanced TP1 or 2, then that can also become a very good trade opportunity for me. ES is not doing much. Man, I felt like I was waiting for that ES trade yesterday forever. Finally gave up on it around 10:30 at night. All right, let's see what happens here. So you got your footprint chart right on the right side of the screen here. Pretty much what I'm looking for is our footprint candle to get through our entry or tap into our entry. Looking for a red footprint candle with green positive delta. That's my confirmation to go short. And this might come quick. $285s look really strong. That looks like the area that they really want. It's the 285s. Unfortunately, right where my stop is going to be located at. So again, I'm probably only going to be getting in with a footprint confirmation here. But I would also say that the easiest way to trade my setups would be just a resting limit order targeting TP1. It's going to get you your highest win rate for damn sure. Nothing happened on the ES. It's just pretty much ranging in the same spot. I'd like to see them step in a little bit more on the 75s. I will have Bookmap up by tomorrow. So I've kind of, now that I've got this P&L indicator that one of my Discord members graciously made for me, I can free up one of my charts here. So I'm going to have Bookmap up, and then I just got to kind of format how it's going to look on screen. But that way, when I start talking about, you know, where they're coming in strong and where the areas that of interest, I can pop that up on the screen as well. Won't be able to have it on this screen, on my trading screen. I just don't have enough real estate for it because I need to see the chart and I need to see the footprint confirmation there. But throughout the stream, I'll be switching over. All right, and as we talked about, strong pocket that the market wants to balance out is at that 25-200 area. I just don't think they've picked up enough. I don't think they've picked up enough volume yet to maybe make a run for it. Or they could be making a run for the 25-200 to displace right back up here. That's a big possibility. All right, ES moving. ES making a little bit of a move now to the downside. So again, setups on the ES that we're looking at is along at the 67.36. Pretty much just targeting about 3.5 points here. But we still need some ways to go. No setup currently in between these two setups that I see. So right now the 67.88 short and the 67.36 long are the two areas that I'm taking a look at. So let's see here if the NQ wants to conduct some business here at the 25-200. I personally thought that it just wasn't enough here to make the move to down to the 25-200. Because really all they're looking to do is, you know, taking business from one area and just dropping it off in the second area, obviously making a really nice profit in between. But that's what the market just does all day long. And my strategy, which is 100% based on volume, is trying to find those little areas that I can just kind of step in with them and conduct my business with them as well. So it does look like they are going to make a move here for the 25-200. We are going to see a fight right here. And we do have some unbalanced volume now sitting right here about the 25-260s that I'm going to have to look at. Unfortunately, it's really close to my setup that I already mapped out. So we're going to now have to see if we can get down to the 25-200s. I'm going to map this area out right here, and then see which of these two setups, in my opinion, have the greatest chance for TP1 and TP2. But that would be only if we can break into this 25-200 area. Because at that point, I think the market's going to kind of tip its hand as to where it might want to go next. Fern, as far as, first of all, good morning. And second of all, I'm typically trading on the 5 and 1 minute time frame. To start the mornings, I'm usually on the 15-minute just to kind of condense my chart a little bit for you guys, and you guys can start to kind of see the setups based on the volume profile, which is pretty much what I trade. I am a volume-based trader, but when I'm actually trading, so like right now I'm down to the 1 minute, and so I'll jump between the 1 and the 5. All right, so there's a possibility here that the market hasn't gotten what it needs yet to make this run on the 25-200s, but we'll see. Hey, Morgan. So yeah, what I consider to be unbalanced is an area that the market has moved pretty quickly away from, where they were not able to complete their auction in those cases. So that is how I pretty much determine my take profits from the previous volume or the previous price action that had occurred in that exact area on the volume profile. So when it comes in to rebalance it, again, all I'm doing is I'm looking for my TP1 and TP2 areas where there were some auctions that were pretty much left open. The market just moved too quickly. You know, I know there's some terms, you know, you can say fair value gap, order blocks. There's a whole bunch of terms out there. I don't trade with any of those. I just see where price action had a pretty strong movement out of, and no real like wicks or anything like that. No retests of areas, because the way you got to look at it is if there's an auction being taken, it's taken place, and market moves quickly from it, but then just really quickly comes right back into it. All it's doing is it's balancing out that area. So they're balancing out volume. So I'm looking for areas that have not been rebalanced. And the only, I mean, I know you've probably heard this 1,000 times, but moves like this move right here, move right here, move right here, that's not generated by any type of retail trader. That's just big market participants that you can obviously much easier visualize it through level 2 data or through Bookmap. That's areas that the big volume participants have been very interested in. Okay, so those are the areas that you really want to see. And the reason why people always say wait for it to break structure is because for it to break structure, usually you're breaking an area where there was a previous auction conducted that was unbalanced, and that big movement was so strong that it was able to rebalance out a previous area. So when I say, look for an area that has a strong movement out of a level that breaks structure, that's why these levels right here become so damn important. And then combining it with the profile, the volume profile, that just is an added confirmation that that is an area that they're pretty interested in. All right, ES still not doing much, just a slight down movement there. Nothing of interest again on the ES between our two setups. Again, we've got a setup to go long at the 67.36, targeting at about 3.5 points on the ES. And then we've got a setup to go short at the 67.88, which is a setup that we had from yesterday. I really thought we were going to get that one, but if you guys watched the market we were pretty much bouncing between TP1 and TP2 almost all night. So I'll move this guy right here. 275s. Okay, a little bit more defense now on the 275s. I like to see that. And volume starting to increase right here at the 275s. And if you start trading with the order book, level 2, I'm going to give you guys a big tip here, pro tip. You want to make sure that your entries, cause there's areas on the order book that have a lot of volume, okay, that have a lot of resting orders currently sitting there. They're not all the same, so you want to be careful that you're not identifying an area on the order book that coincides visually with an area of a stop loss, because stop loss and resting orders are two different things. They're both resting orders, don't get me wrong. They're both orders in the market. But stop loss is actually the opposite of what you're thinking might happen at your entry. So you want to be very careful when you start, if you get Bookmap or if you get level 2 data, that you start identifying areas of your entry that are not just based on a big pocket of resting orders that also coincide with a stop loss area, because those will not react the same. What I'm looking for, hopefully, is, let's just say on the NQ or on the ES, there's a level at the 65.40, just random number, that has 250 contracts sitting on it. That, to my eyes, looks very interesting, but it also coincides with the exact point where we had a big pivot to the downside. That to me diminishes that area, because I know that is mainly stop losses, which can react very, very funky. You can either get a blast through, or you can get the reaction that you're actually looking for, but you've got to be very careful. Vice versa, if you find an area that's got 200 contracts resting that is not in any type of logical stop loss area, then you know that is more likely a large volume market participant that's looking to establish a position. That's where you want to be. Let's take a look at the 75s again. Still kind of low on the volume. 80s are getting defended a little bit better. That's pretty damn close to my stop loss though. So again, and I don't mind, to be honest with you, I know that for those traders that are just setting a resting limit order at the 25, 275, 50, targeting TP1, you know, you've got a very high chance of that happening, just in general. But if we do get the tapping into this liquidity pool that's sitting, this volume pool that's sitting right up here, and they've left TP1 and TP2 completely unbalanced, then I don't have any issue in getting back into this trade, probably at a better risk to reward ratio, because I could hopefully maybe get in somewhere right around here with the footprint confirmation, and then target my same TP1 and TP2. So I always have a few options as to what I can do on a trade. But again, I think your easiest way to trade the strategies is just a simple resting limit order to go short, targeting TP1. It's going to give you a very, very, very high win rate, as you guys already saw with the first setup that I identified here early this morning. And if we go into drawdown, you know, to me, I grade myself very strongly. I'm pretty tough on myself with drawdown. So I mean, if I let's say we have a limit order here and it blows through it and it gets up, you know, maybe halfway to stop loss, for me that was already a miss on my strategy and on my methodology of trading. It might still work. It might come back and hit my TP1 and TP2, but what I'm really looking for is very, very minimal drawdown. 1, 2 points, 3 points on the NQ, maximum 6 ticks on the ES is what I like to see in all of my trades. And as you can see, I'm very selective. So I've got a grading system that pretty much goes from B to A. My B setups are probably as good as most people's A setups, but for me, they're not as... There's something missing. There's an element missing in that trade that doesn't qualify it as an A, which I can give you an example of one right here. This guy right here. I think I had it drawn out with a circle, but I don't right now. So this setup I've got here for a long at the 67.16. There is an area that is sitting right here that's got a lot of volume sitting at it. Okay, a lot of volume is sitting right here. There's a lot of volume sitting right at my entry, which is why I've got it marked off as an entry. But my biggest concern is we tap into the entry and the market makes this final little push to get into balance out this before hitting my TP1 and TP2. I'm looking for areas that have very little resistance to get to TP1, TP2, and that have a lot of resistance to get into my stop loss. So that's an example of what I'm looking for on my, or I should say how I grade myself on my trades. So again, on the ES, we're mapping out a short at the 67.88, targeting about 3 points there. And then we've got a long at the 67.36, again, targeting about 3 points, 3.5 points there. And on the NQ, we've identified a setup. I would call this a pretty, just kind of quick scalp at the 25, 275, 50. First target would be the 25, 269. Second target would be this 25, 265. And we've got another setup above us at the 25, 345, targeting the 25, 339. But we got to get through this before anything. Yeah, clean this wood for sure. I could definitely work on one of those. So this morning we've identified one setup on the NQ. Would have hit your TP1, TP2 with probably less than a point of drawdown. And currently looking at a few setups on the NQ and the ES. We kind of need the market to do something here. We had some really nice movement last week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was, for me on my style of trading, was really nice because we were just having some strong movements in and out of areas that were just leaving volume clues everywhere. So it was a pretty easy trading week. But like yesterday, that ES, I mean, that was 6 hours of probably less than a 10-point range. And the issue that I had was that it was right at my setup. It was right, I mean, price action was bouncing around right here all day long, which kills me as a trader because I'm looking for this short at the 67.88, especially yesterday. Yesterday, that setup looked fantastic. Once we did this right here, once we tapped into the 85s, it did remove a lot of volume. So this area is not as fantastic as it was yesterday, but you can see on the volume profile how pretty this looks. It looks like a really nice setup. But you know, when you're dancing around your area, you know, I'm obviously curious. I want to take a trade, even if it was in the evening. I would still love to take this trade, and it just never gave it to me. So I just kind of felt like you get that feeling that you've wasted so much time on one setup that never even came through, and it might have even eventually come through, and you might lose on it still. So that was a little frustrating. Where we haven't seen that. We didn't see that last week. Last week we got some very clear movements. But the NAS here is approaching. Let's see what happens here. And a super safe stop here that I'm kind of looking at. I think we're still okay there. The 285s has got a nice little pocket right where this box is at. That's my only concern with this trade as of right now. That's my only concern, is, you know, not getting that initial reaction right at the entry, is getting it, you know, a pretty strong move right to here, which, you know, would suck for the people that have a resting limit order, but at the same time would be a very strong possibility for a re-enter for me to get back into TP1 and TP2 for sure. But we need market to actually get up there to see what's going on. How's everybody doing? How's everybody enjoying the stream? I think each day they're getting a little bit better. You know, I've got so far the technology and the setup has been working. Still tweaking on a few things. Like I said, I'll be adding Bookmap tomorrow to the stream. I pretty much was able to free up a monitor. I've got 7 monitors, to be honest with you. I've got my Bookmap monitors on a 42-inch TV that's pretty much hanging from my ceiling above me, which I kind of like because it's huge. But what my thinking is that I can, now that I've got one monitor that's freed up here on my left side, I can move bookmap to there, and then I can show it. I can maybe switch in and out of those screens when I'm talking about volume, so that you guys can kind of get the clue there. Ooh, strong move right there. Okay, tapped into a little liquidity there. Buyers look pretty strong. 75's coming in a little bit. '70s are defended right now. 75's not defended as strongly as the 70s, so it really wants this area right here at my TP1. Really like to see them stepping in a little stronger on the 75s. So let's see here what they do. This one might come pretty quick though. And then after that, it's the 80s and 95s. So right around this box that I've got drawn out for you guys right there. Now let's take a look here. So that TP2 should get a little bit of resistance. We just got it right there. Now we're hoping that we get nice little smooth movement to entry. All right, they're playing around with their balancing out this volume right there. 80s still looks strong, which is a little bit above my entry, so we'll see here what has to happen. Might get my confirmation in the 80 range, but we'll see. All right, we tapped into entry. I like it. Now let's see if it doesn't go after our stop here. Let's see here. Remember, we've got a ton of volume sitting right up here, so that's the only area that I'm a little worried about. And it looks like it might snap us here. All right, so it snapped us. That was what I was a little afraid of. But now we can look for a possible re-entry in here. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Currently TP1 really needs to get rebalanced. That would be a very good target right now. But I need to see something on the footprint to get me into that trade right there. Something pretty similar to this. Let's see here. Nope. Dang, I missed that one. That could have been it to get me to TP1 right there. Let's see. Let's see if they give... Let's see. I'd almost rather than tap into that little rectangle box that we've got in there. That to me seems... And then TP1 looks really nice. It's definitely an area that they would want to rebalance. But let's see if it can tap into that box first. So pretty much the 90 to 95. Just a whole boatload of volume sitting. Come on, tap into it. Don't want to getting much under my entry. Shoot. Don't go for that. Don't go for that balance yet. Don't go for TP1 yet. Oh, come on. There you go. There you go. I mean, to the tick is where they rebalanced it to. I just didn't get a good entry there. Did not get a good entry. So what my hope was, and there was TP2 too. So my hope was is that they would actually tap into this, but tap into this liquidity pool that was sitting right here. So overall, I missed this trade with my stop by 7 ticks. But the trade played out pretty similar to exactly what I thought it was going to do. That was my only fear right here. We did get probably halfway to TP, but they really wanted this volume right there. Got in and got TP1. Good man. Good man. So now they really rebalance that. All right, I guess I can wipe this guy out. So now above us on the NQ, our next setup would be looking at 25,345, targeting the 25,339. Well, they might have got enough liquidity here. They might have done enough transactions here to finally move into this 25,200. So there's that big possibility as well. We got about 15 minutes before IB is set. So we'll see if we can possibly capture a trade on the IB. See what the ES is doing. Not much, just stuck in this range. So the only thing I'm interested on the ES is looking at this short possibility at the 67.88 or this hopefully upcoming IB trade. So it looks like the IB is currently set right here. Okay, 50. All right, so we got 3 minutes for our initial balance to be set on the NQ. And it's a pretty simple trade that I've got for that. Very high win rate as well. You've got, it's, I'm looking for, again, just my footprint confirmation. On an IB low, I'd be looking for a long with the confirmation. And I'm targeting 15 points on the NQ, which seems to always be a pretty decent target. Unless there's some, smaller imbalance that I see, little pocket that needs to get balanced out. I might adjust my TP very slightly, but generally 15 points is where I like to be at. But we still got 2 minutes for the IB, so this IB could be moving here. This is just me putting it in prematurely. I'll be back in 1 sec. All right, so IB now got pushed down to 25. And the funny thing is that the IB is going to coincide with this big pocket right here. So on this particular IB setup, one thing you guys want to watch out for is we might get the initial reaction that we like here, but the best play would be is if we get if market taps into this 25,200, we then get a footprint confirmation to the upside. That would be a very, very, very good setup for the morning. Again, not much going on in the ES. Let me see if let's see if the market did anything interesting up here. Man, that was unfortunate. Our stop got hit by about 5 ticks. If I went with my initial one where I was kind of saying maybe to raise it up a little bit past that box, it would have been the best level of protection on that trade. All right, so we've got a little area here. It's kind of a big area, I should say, not a little area. Obviously, we broke structure. Got a level right here, got a level right here. So if I hone in on it, let's see if there's anything here that makes any sense to me. Something right there. It doesn't really look fantastic on the volume profile, but that's an area. Could see a reaction right here as well. And doesn't fit very good on the volume profile either. I would say that this area right here has got a little bit more strength. Delete that guy. And just preliminary. Just gonna mark this off so I've got it ready. We're getting close to IB here, so let me get this ready here. I'll worry worry about TP2 in a little bit. All right, let's see if we can tap into... so we got the confirmation there. Shit. Let's see. I really would like to see it tapping into that 200. It might not give us that. Because we would have got the confirmation there. I think we would have gotten pretty damn close to our 15 points. Man, dang it, man. Mapping out this setup right here. That was it. Oh. And here was your footprint confirmation to the T. Green, crossed our entry, our IB low, got your negative delta, green footprint candle, perfect confirmation. And would have got us our 15 points. I'm still getting used to this whole live stream. I'm trying to do a lot of things at one time, but that sucked really bad. On the flip side, I did feel like they were going to tap into the 200s, which would have just made that an absolute fantastic setup. But this trade right here, this IB trade, I mean, you can make a living just off of that. The IB low and high with the footprint confirmation. It comes. There was a period where I think I hit like 13 days straight, or at least 11 days straight. Haven't been able to trade it the last probably four trading sessions. I mean, today was just a complete freaking dumbass move on my part. All right, let's see the 53s. What's happening at the 53s? So the 55s have got some nice volume that they might want to go after. And I didn't really establish a TP2. I think it would look something like right there. Anybody take that that IB long? Got 20 points on a key. Nice job. Nice job. Better than me. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. Volume's pretty light in general right now. The order book is pretty damn thin. You got to be careful because the 60s now scenario. Let's see if they tap in. Let's see what happens here. Don't sweep TP2. Leave me something. No. This setup went to probably now a C. Went to a C setup right now. I got no TP area that I really like. Dang it. Dang it. Let's see what happens here. I got nothing super clear. Besides like the 20, like the 30s. I mean, that would be a huge trade. But this area right here needs to get balanced out. Let's see what happens here. Nope. If this turns into a red candle on this particular footprint, I'd be very interested. A lot of volume picked up right there. If this turns into red, this could be something here. I like it. And I think we could probably get a little bit more aggressive on our target. I think you could probably target the 40s, to be honest with you. Probably target the 30s. I mean, I like to get a win here. Yeah, I think we can actually, you can get maybe a little bit more aggressive on our target. I think the 40s is definitely an area. Actually, the 30s, to be honest with you, really needs to get rebalanced, but we'll see. There's a pocket of liquidity sitting pretty close to my stop loss, so I don't want to get too crazy with this trade. All right, so we took our TP there. And the 40s is an area, to be honest with you, this is what looks to me right there. This looks like to me the area that they really need to rebalance right now. And again, how I got into that trade was pretty simple. If you look at here on the chart, I'll give you guys this arrow. This was a very easy one. You know, for those that say the footprint confirmation on the NQ is very difficult, it can be, but sometimes it could be very easy. So you got your red negative, you got your red footprint candle. Look at how much positive delta was on that. Like I've always said, the highest delta, the more the delta, the stronger the movement down will be. And that, to me, that was just a perfect entry. That was a perfect entry. And it looks like I targeted the right TP. But this 25-230 will get revisited right soon, because there's just too much sitting right there that they were not able to conduct. So really bummed with that IB, missed that IB trade here this morning. That would have been a perfect 15 points. That would have been nice. That would have been up. That would have been up really nicely for the morning session. But we'll see what other setups we can get here. So what is IB? IB is just the initial balance of the market, first hour. So from 8:30, for me, I'm in the Central Time, so that's 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. That's your initial balance. And the reason why I'm interested in it is that those two levels typically will have a lot of volume sitting right there at those two levels. So as you can see, our IB this morning was at the 25-205. Look at the reaction that you got off of that IB right there. And, you know, you can call me as, you know, slow. I was mapping out this trade on my other screen. So, you know, I don't like to give myself excuses, but it's just what happened this morning. So I was mapping out this setup, and when I jumped over here, we did get the footprint confirmation that I was looking for, but then I also felt that the 25-200 was an area that the market really wanted to revisit to rebalance. So I was almost hoping that we could get a few more points to the downside and then get this reaction to the upside, which would have been a fantastic trade. But this one happened right smack on the initial balance, but again with the 25 205. Now, that's not to say now that we've got another play, which is the IB high, the 25304. Again, I'm going to be looking for the exact same thing, a footprint confirmation. A footprint confirmation to go short somewhere, or pretty much once we cross this line here. But remember what I just said, the 25-230s needed to get rebalanced. So you are going to see that the market is going to take this area out sooner than later. Which is where I said, you know, I could target the 25-240, which I think just got taken out. 241. I think that was very close to where my TP2 was at. So they finally took that out. And now the logical spot would be this 25-230. And then let's map out what else they'd be very interested in. So the 225. 225. Yeah, they're coming after this. They are coming after this for sure. I'll be right back and I'll watch you guys hit this 25-230 number. There you go, right to the tick, huh? Right to the tick, 25-230. This shit doesn't come from the air. It doesn't come out from the air. I mean, once you got the tools behind you and you kind of understand it, you see naturally where the market, where it took volume, which is right here where I was saying that there's a big pocket, which was a concern with my stop loss. And it's just conducting business now. That's all it's doing. It's taking it from one spot to the other. And it does it all day long. You can follow it. You'll become a really good trader. A really, really damn good trader. To answer your question, Nor. So they had a question, how wide of a stop would you use for the 15-point TP off of initial balance low? What I personally do is I go 15-point stop, 15-point take profit. So I already have a bracket order that's just set up for my IB trade. But remember, I'm taking it from my footprint confirmation, which in the case that I showed you, it's probably going to take a while to scroll back. Let's see if I can scroll back here. It's going to be a pain in the ass to scroll all the way back because I've got this so narrow. Let's see, that was the trade. Let's see where my arrow was at. I think, okay, right here. Dang it, just move this guy. Let me fix this. All right, so this would have been my footprint confirmation on the IB trade here today. So my entry, my normal entry would have been probably right around the 25-209 area. Oh, you guys can't even see it. Sorry. So to answer your question on the IB trade, this would have been my footprint confirmation. Okay, so I got a green footprint candle. I got negative delta. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Crossed into my IB. Depending on how quickly my hand-to-eye coordination would be is I would say my entry would have been right around the 209. So my 15-point stop and my 15-point target would be actually from this 209, not from the actual IB line. Now, yes, you can blindly take the IB trade and have relatively good success, relatively. You add the footprint confirmation and your win rate will go right through the roof, because there's going to be some times where the IB just doesn't stack up. You know, this had, now that I'm looking at it now, we had a few areas where a lot of orders were sitting right here. It was a little unfortunate that it didn't go down maybe 3 more points to tap into this. That would have been fantastic. But what they're doing right now, what the market's doing right now, is they finally took out this level that I had marked off to the tick. So I could delete this level. And now what they're looking for is they're just looking for areas where now they can reconduct business and distribute it in another area, obviously, hopefully for a profit for them. And their next area that they still left open is the 25-200s. So this area is still open for them to do business. Their next area is going to be right here at the 25s. So hopefully it's not, I mean, the IB play for me is done already. So I'm going to delete this one. The 25-200s is an area that they need to, it looked like they just balanced out this area. So this is the next logical place for them to go. Or they also have now the IB high. They have the IB high where they know that they conduct a lot of business at. And it's very repeatable. It's exactly what they want to do almost every single day. There's just a few movements in the market that are pretty set, you know, and other traders have previous day close, previous day high, overnight open. All those lines in your chart will work, especially if you've got this behind you. But I've just found the 15-point trade on the IB is a real beauty of a setup. Real beauty of a setup. Let's see what the ES is doing, huh? I don't think, not doing much. We're getting back to this area that's just been sitting here for like the last 20 hours, it seems. Yeah, let's see this, the 88s. So now they're really the 85s. Man, let me see something really quick here. Let's see if I can maybe recalculate this trade here. Don't see it. Don't see it. 85 is stacked. Is absolutely stacked. The 85s are stacked. This is a big area right now. A big area of interest. For one reason or the other. Obviously coincides really nicely with this volume profile. This trade setup looks fantastic. I would just like to see a little bit. Okay, no, the 88s are coming in good. Currently got about 80 contracts sitting right here. Conversely, we've got about 200 contracts or 170 contracts sitting in this like 85 range. So we're going to see a fight here. We're going to see a fight here. And what I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping happens here. I'm hoping that they get the buyers get tired. They conduct so much business right here. They make a nice little final stretch, and then the sellers come back in and knock them down. And I feel like I've got a relatively good defense behind me. So that's my commentary there. All right, so the NQ is also getting pretty close to IB high. Now I've got a situation where I got to be looking at two of them at the same time. So let's go into the ES. And I'll monitor the NQ just on the footprint chart off to the side of my screen. This could get a little complicated here. What do you see at the 25s? I think the 25s were... are you talking about the NQ or the ES? May have to switch over here to the NQ really quickly, but we'll see. Yeah, looks like I'm going to have two almost going on at the same time here. Yeah, 25s are super strong. I think that's the one I just marked off for you guys, saying that that was the next area that they were going to rebalance. Dang it. I got the NQ and the ES both setting up. I got the ES setting up on this 6788, and I've got the NQ setting up on my IB high. I guess which one gets there first and which one looks prettier? The ES has some pretty nice down potential too. They did not rebalance the 73s, so we could see this all right, the ES is gearing up for a fight here. This should be interesting. Okay, big absorption right here. 85s is next. The next fight's going to be at the 85s. The final fight's at the 90. So we got at the 92. I feel like I've got a pretty decent stop loss set. I just hope we don't do this and then come right back down and curl back down, because that would just be... Well, there's the fight. I was kind of hoping that they would win this fight and then finally lose this one right here. Huge absorption here. 400 contracts, 120, 165, just a lot of business being done here. They do have a very logical place to move this business, which would be at the 73s. So right here. This is an area that they would want to, if they can conduct everything they want to do here, this would be a very great place for them to dump it off at. Okay, everything looks still pretty good here. We should see a pretty fast reaction next point or two, we should see something juicy happen here. Let's see. That's a little push there. Let's see. Come on, just come up a little bit more. Take a little bit more from the top side. Come on. A lot of business being done right there, as you guys can see. You guys can see the delta at the bottom of the footprint chart there. So I would hate for the case to be for the 85s to have been the trade, but let's see a little bit more push to the upside. Decent footprint confirmation there. Let's see if they rebalance TP2 here. I still feel like, man, those 73s is the area that they want to dump all this off at. But I would like a little bit more of a push. Get into those 88s. Give me the chance here. Come on. Come on, a little bit more of a push here. A little bit more of a push. Sellers are stacked exactly where I like them. I just need the entry. Come on, don't lose this fight here. Don't lose the fight. They might have done enough business to now to displace down to the 73s. Frustrating day so far. Come on. There's so much juicy volume for them to go into right here. I just don't know if they already picked up enough to want to balance it out down here at the 73s. Entry on the ES is short at the 67.88. Oh my god. The NQ had them. This is killing me. Oh, the NQ made its move off of the IB high right there. God bless it. This is frustrating today. Key, the setting for my footprint, I base it off a range chart. My ES is on the 4 range, so it's pretty much equivalent to a 1 point on the ES. And on the NQ, I've got it on a 20 range, so it's equivalent to 5 points. And the only thing you really need is the delta bar at the bottom. Now, footprint charts require, you know, the level 2 data. If you're on Ninja, you have a lifetime license that's included. You still need the level 2. But at least the volume, I think they call it volumetrics or something like that, but the volume market data is included in the lifetime license, but it's an add-on if you don't have it. Frustrating morning. Frustrating morning so far. Let's take a look at this NQ. Well, I guess we were off by maybe a point there. Maybe a few ticks. A few ticks there. Now my issue is they're just balancing everything that was right here, and to me that starts to lessen it up for me as far as the quality of the trade. Yes, there's still a very big amount of volume that they need to tap into right here at my 88s, but the more they stay right here, the less that I personally like it. I mean, you can see on the footprint chart, you know, the 300 contracts, 140. I mean, it's just a big area right here, and I would have rather us been in this trade already to just take out our TP1 and TP2. This has probably been the most frustrating trade that I've had for quite a while. Missed my IB long this morning for the 15-pointer. Got stopped out maybe 5 or 6 ticks on the earlier NQ trade. So 1 for 1 for today. 1 loser, 1 winner. Should have been 2 winners, 1 loser, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, don't pay the bills. Man, I really got to use the washroom too. This is just the perfect storm. Let's see. Yeah, patience is huge, my man. You're telling me I've been out of coffee for the last 15, 20 minutes. And I feel it. I really like this area right here. This has just been almost comical. They've been having such a hard time So the last area that we have a defense on this trade is the 90s. Okay, so the 67, 90 to 91, that's your last layer right there. If it taps into that and starts to rebalance, our stops is going to get hit. But there's just so much right here. I'm just really hoping that we don't see a Just an absolute rocket ship through it. I don't think to me on the how the order book is stacking up, how the profile is sitting right here, it just doesn't seems extremely unlikely for that to occur. But again, we just... And here's another thing. If they rebalance the 73 prior to our entry, I'm not interested anymore. I'm really not. I'm really not anymore. Because they want this to put it right back here. And maybe I get a few minutes. I'm not going to make coffee, but I am going to use the washroom. So give me 1 second. I'll be honest with you, my biggest fear, because like I think I mentioned to you guys what my setup is now downstairs in my basement. It's a fully unfinished basement. Built out the studio down here, and I've got a golf simulator in front of me that I use in the wintertime. I built out a nice workout area for my son, and then we have a pretty big bathroom down here. My biggest fear is going off stream and my mic still being hot and everybody hearing me use the bathroom. So I triple checked the mic. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. All right, nice little push here. 300 contracts. They're going through a lot of it. Come on. Give me a little push here. Plus 300 contracts. Plus 208. So they're going through it. Let's go in a little bit more. Come on. Not gonna lie, if I see a good footprint confirmation, especially here, I would probably jump in, but I don't see it yet. Might be jumping in a little bit early, but feel that was a decent one. Let's just see if it gets that final push to the 88s. It might just jump in right here and wait it out. Dang it. So right here was you did get a confirmation, a little bit smaller of a confirmation that I would have wanted, but you also had 385 contracts on the candle before it. So this still would have been a decent confirmation. One that I was probably a millisecond from tapping the short button, which I might be kicking myself soon, but yeah, they're so strong here. They're just so strong here. I feel like almost anywhere in this area right now is just a decent short. It's a great short. Don't know if I'm going to get the 88s. Dang it. Dang it. Right here. This would have been the spot. It would have taken about 4 points right there. I missed this one, guys. I know they want the 73s. It's a decent trade, but this is not the best risk to reward at this point. Five-point stop, maybe. I think, like I said, anywhere here is a good short. I'm going to take the short. And this is not the best, but this is what I'm thinking here. If I get something good, if I get maybe 4 or 5 points out of it, maybe a big blast to the downside or like that, I'll be interested in maybe going down to break even. Give me at least 3. You know what? Let's go right here. Seems like a good target right there. There you go. There you go. Green for the day. Up a grand. Not exactly what I wanted. I'll be honest with you guys. Where I said to get in on that footprint confirmation was your absolute best spot. But I just saw the sellers are so strong that it just made all the sense in the world to me that you get a really nice move to the downside there. And what did I say? I said the 43s? Right. The 73s, I'm sorry. Let's move that down to the 73s because that's what they're coming for. That's what they're coming for. Nice, Mike. 4 points. Key. Nice. Nice. So it might not be a straight shot to the 73s, but Mark my words, like I've said 100 times, it was here that they did business. You guys saw on the footprint chart how many contracts they were absorbing. So once they're loaded up, they naturally have to do something with that. So they're looking for pockets of liquidity. Yes, they had a small pocket up here. They actually have another still pocket right above here where our original entry was going to be at. But now the 73s is an easy, low resistance area for them to do business at and make their money, make their profits. All right, with that, now that we're in the green, I am going to make some fresh coffee. I will be back, and we'll see. I haven't really looked at the NQ for a bit, so when I get back, I'll look at the NQ, see if there's any setup there that makes sense. Be right back, guys. All right, reloaded on the Cuban coffee, so I got some energy. All right, let's map out the let's take a look and see what the NQ now. The NQ can be like I said, the ES, they're coming after the 67.73. That's just a natural spot for them to have rebalanced everything that they picked up right here. And as I was making the coffee, I was just kicking myself for not taking the short a little bit earlier. I got a great footprint confirmation right here, right at the 86s. But at the same time, when I did take the short, we just got that. That's what I love to see, like just that nice explosive move. Especially you don't get that much on the ES, but we got the perfect explosion move. And I was even happy for moving my TP exactly where I did, because it was just a very easy, natural, low resistance area for it to take out. A greedy trader, one that, you know, is obviously can hold out. The 73s would have been a very good target, because that is the natural spot for it to want to take out. All right, let's jump to the NQ. Let's see what the NQ is doing. All right, so again, we missed our IB low trade this morning. That would have been 15. God, that would have been nice. Been up really nicely in profit. In cash account, I'm currently up 124 in the main account, 139 in the secondary. My secondary cash account through NinjaTrader. And then in my 5 funded prop accounts, so I got 3 funded ticks. I got 1 take profit and 1 Tradeify funded. Those are all up about 120 to 125 bucks. Actually, take profit is up 130. So total, we've got 992 for the day. Took 1 loser early this morning. Missed that one by like a few ticks on my stop. And then 2 really nice setups. But let's take a look at the NQ. Let me see what I see. All right, so we still got this setup up here that looks really nice. A short at the 25, 345 and a quarter. Targeting the 25, 339, and then also targeting the 25, 335. So this setup here looks, as of right now, looks pretty good. We didn't actually tap into our IB high. Might have missed it by about 3 ticks here. So that setup for me now that kind of goes down a little bit. The 225s on the NQ is a big point for the market to want to retap back into. Just an absolute shit ton of volume sitting right at the 25s. So this is an area, again, this is me thinking, it logically, what would make the most sense for me is for the market to jump up into this area up here, into the 340s, and then come down and revisit this 25,225. That's what makes the most sense to me right now. It's definitely got liquidity right here. It could come right into here and rebalance the 25. So that's a big possibility that the market might want to do, which is pretty easy to figure out once we get into this level. We'll just take a look at the footprint chart and see what's happening there. But currently, in all of this mess right here, there is nothing. There's nothing A+ whatsoever. Nothing. Let's take a look at the ES, back to the ES here. ES still needs to rebalance the 73s. So that's the most logical target to me. Obviously, they conducted, you saw the amount of business that they conducted right here on the footprint chart. Every single footprint from the 85s up to the 87 was carrying about 300 contracts on each 1 point footprint candle. So that just tells you that they conducted a lot of business right here, and now they just want to move that business down to the next logical spot, which is going to be your 73s. And this is where they will have the redistribution of everything that they picked up right here. And depending on which position they were picking up, they'll take home a nice little profit there. Let me jump into the higher time frame. Yeah, on the ES, as far as a long, we don't see anything until the 6736, targeting the 6739. And then below that, this is my B plus setup. This is a B plus setup. We've got the 6716, targeting the 6718 and the 6719 and 3/4. Okay. I have not been able to identify a TP2 here yet. So the only way for me to identify the TP2 clearly here, I would need price action to start revisiting this area, and then I can figure out a TP2. But this TP1 is in a spot that I could see it wanting to. So this is interesting now. Let me see what the 88s are doing. All right, it's not, yeah, so this entire area now is flattened out. You know, the next big area for them would be right here at the 90s. The 6790 would be the next big area for them. You know, obviously doesn't fit perfectly on the volume profile like I'd like to see. The 88s were fantastic, but the 88s have diminished quite significantly. So the next area would be the 90s, which, to be honest with you, this is a very low cost trade right here. The only issue that I see with the 90s is you might get this little small spike, and you might not have a big buffer between your entry and your stop, but this could be a very, very low cost trade. And the target here now would be the 86s. It's pretty simple. So this would be like the 86 and a quarter. That's what that would look like. I can delete this guy. So very low cost trade. Positive risk to reward, which again, risk to reward is not what I am. It's nowhere near the top of my list of criteria. What I'm looking for is an entry that's going to cause where I know I'm going to see a big reaction to. And then my stop loss placement is placed behind an area, a wall of defense, which you guys saw we had the wall of defense on the previous short that, setup that we had, that it was perfect. And then my TPs are placed in areas where you have free flowing to the downside. I want the least amount of resistance back into my take profit, and I want to see a lot of resistance to get to my stop loss. So that's the key to my trading. It's not necessarily risk to reward. That is, you can come up with an artificial number or a ratio, but what is that really doing? The market doesn't give a shit about your ratios. It doesn't give a shit about your points. It wants the volume. It wants the orders. That's all it cares about. And if you start to learn to put your entries and your stop losses in areas that make sense versus the traditional thinking of risk to reward, your win rate will go through the roof. I currently I'm averaging right around 83% win rate. On my signal service, I think for the last 9 months, we're also averaging about 81% on my win rates on that one. So again, if you switch your thinking a little bit, it'll help you trade these futures markets a lot better, I should say. All right, thanks, Mike, for that. I'll take a look at it once I'm off stream here. You guys should be trading the GC. Yeah, I mean, I've been trading the GC for 4 years. Actually, maybe about 3 years. And the instrument's fantastic. You know, I mean, there's a lot of movement there. My volume-based strategy on the GC works fantastic. It's just I've honed in on the NQ and the ES so well that adding a third piece, I mean, you saw me already this morning. I missed my IB trade low because I was mapping out the ES setup. And, you know, just adding another instrument without me replacing one, to me, is very difficult for me to do on stream. To be honest with you, not even on stream. Well, yeah, on stream. Me, myself, just trading, I can easily handle three instruments. But on stream, it's very difficult for me because I already have a lot of shit going on that I'm not used to in my regular trading. And I've been adapting to it. And so far, I've been profitable, I think, every single day. So it's I'm not hurting myself in any way. And like I told you guys in the beginning, I don't make these streams for entertainment purposes. I make these streams so that I can make money. I have skin in the game. I have 2 cash accounts that are attached to these trades. And I don't want to change my trading philosophy, my style for the stream. That's one thing. I had this conversation with my wife. I will not do that. It's not about the entertainment purpose. It's hopefully that teach people a strategy that you can honestly keep forever. This volume-based strategy will work in any market, good or bad, and in any instrument. In the equities, my brother-in-law trades the equities. He contacts me all the time for analysis on Tesla, Nvidia. You know, where are the areas that I'm going to see the reaction to, the reversals from, and so this spreads out through any instrument. And it's something that if you hone, you need the tools. You know, there's tools that are involved, and unfortunately, in this business, the tools cost money. So, you know, my Bookmap subscription is, I don't know, $130 maybe a month. I could be off on the pricing there, but it's probably $130 there. I've got level 2 data that I'm paying for through Ninja. Footprint charts are included in my lifetime license, so I don't have to worry about that. But you know, there's tools here that do cost some money, but it's the cost of doing business. The trading for me is a part-time business. Let's see if they take out the 73s here. Just feel like that's where they're going. Now, you're not going to see a big fight here at the 73s, but this is an area that they're going to tap into, which I think they just missed it by probably a tick or two. So they conducted business already. The area after this that you're going to see the fight is going to be at the 70s. So right down here. So right in between here, this is just a fantastic area for them to conduct their business that they need to do. Pretty much closing out their auction. And, you know, obviously my original target on that short, which was a little bit aggressive, was at the 73s. So it's, again, I'm looking for areas that I have a very high, relatively good chance of getting hit. This wasn't a very aggressive target. I probably reduced my target to about 5 points of profit. Maybe it's 4 3/4. I can't remember now. But I'm in the green for the day, and I'm happy as a clam. If clams can be happy, I'm not sure. So I take it you're not using Bob's bot. I remember you from the Discord a few years ago. Yeah, so I started off, it's funny because I actually started off my YouTube channel, God, I want to say 3 years, but I don't think it's been 3 years. 2 years? 2 years ago? A little bit more than 2 years ago. And yeah, at that time I was a big follower of Bob's trading style. And he had developed a bot to trade. And I think I was the only one on YouTube that actually that purchased the bot and put real cash money behind it. So I did a 30-day challenge with $5,000 in my cash account. It's funny because that actually started my secondary. I started my secondary brokerage account for that particular reason, because I didn't want it mixing with my primary cash account through Ninja. And I traded it. I think I broke even for the first like 2 months, to be honest with you. You know, his style and my style of trading now are very, very different. But I think that from some thumbnails that I see, I believe that he's paying a lot more attention to the bigger levels, like the overnight open, the previous day high and low, and again, if you really think about it, there's a reason why those levels are important. It's because that's where the volume is stacked up at. So at the end of the day, I can pick apart anybody's strategy, including mine, and narrow it down to, if you're using volume behind your strategy, you already have an edge. There's no secret that the best traders, the best influencers that are out there, and there's not that many, but the best influencers that you see out there, they have this on their screen. They have the volume profile on the screen, and you most likely will see them having this on their screen or somewhere off on their screen that they're trading with. And there's no secret. Well, there is probably a secret, but there's no denying the fact that the best traders are incorporating volume into their strategies. That's a statement that I will stand behind every single day. But as far as like, you know, moving averages, EMAs, things like that, that is a lagging indicator, regardless of what anybody wants to say. It follows trend. So if you need that to visualize a trend, throw it on your screen. I don't give a shit. Throw it on your screen, and it will help you visualize maybe the trend. But there's nothing at those actual lines that correspond with volume unless you get to a level. So I map out my levels each and every morning for my Discord, and so eventually those lines will correspond with an overnight open, a previous day a close, initial balance, you know, big lines where there's volume sitting. And yes, then that line will support your move. Of course it will. But you know, just blindly trading just a line on your chart that's moving with price action is, to me, is a difficult proposition. You're gonna find areas that you can make money on, but I bet you I can feel very confident that you will you'll find those lines where the trades are successful originated from an area that volume was unbalanced and needed to get rebalanced, if that makes sense. But at the flip side, he taught me a lot of things 3-4 years ago, and you know, he's very tight with his stop losses. He moves his stops quickly, goes to break even. I like to leave my trades breathe a little bit, but when I get into some good profit, yeah, I'll go to break even. I got no issue with that. So there's some psychology there that he's definitely helped out. I think he helps out traders in general, because anything that's going to limit your trading, the amount of trades you take, if you're really looking for A+ setups, whatever that A+ setup is, whatever methodology you're going to use, if you can limit your amount of trades to only take the exact setup with the exact rules, which he's big on, and I love that, you will be a better trader. You know, it's just going to make you naturally a better trader. So there's a lot of pros there. Can you use level 2 data from Ninja on Bookmap? Yes, you can. I take that back. I take that back. I don't know. I know that you can connect Ninja to Bookmap. I should figure that part out. That's who gave me that question? Key. You actually gave me an action step, because I am paying for level 2 data with Bookmap, and I am paying for level 2 data with Ninja. And if I could somehow get my level 2 data from Ninja into Bookmap, I think I could save myself $35 per month. So that would be pretty damn awesome. Now, I know that Ninja, I can connect Ninja to my Bookmap so that I can actually take trades from Bookmap. I don't personally see a benefit there. But Bookmap does also have footprint charts. So, you know, that would get you your footprint charts as well. I say it does because that's what they say. I've never actually done it. So I don't want to... I shouldn't say something that I haven't actually seen myself, but on the features it says that you do have a footprint option through Bookmap. But I will find out now, because I'm going to contact Bookmap. Does have a fantastic customer service, so I'm going to ask them if do I need to be paying for the level 2 both ways. The averages are more about momentum. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a good tool. If you need to, if you're having a hard time following trend, throw one up on there. I mean, it's not going to hurt. I personally see trend in a completely different areas and a different thought process to that. I have no problem taking a short in an uptrend, and I have no problem taking a long in a downtrend, because I know the areas that they need to stop, rest, and do business, and then displace that business. So once you could figure that part out, you could take it in any trend. You could take a trade in any trend as long as you know what you're looking for. So this played out pretty much exactly what I thought. I mean, we did our big business up here. They displaced it down here at the 73s. You can see that was a pretty big move to the upside. Yes, I know it's maybe a tick or two above it, but you get what I'm saying here. As far as... Oh, so we retapped into the IB high here. Let's just see. You get a red candle right here. You got a very nice trade possibility. Got a lot of positive delta. Okay, no, so we didn't get the confirmation there. Now I would wait to see for a footprint closing underneath the IB with a confirmation, which you don't get. And again, saves you from a bad trade. Now, the reason why this to me wasn't very interesting is because you've got this area right here that it tapped into and balanced out some volume here, so this becomes much less. And what gets you out of just a bad trade is the footprint confirmation. So pretty easy stuff. So again, the next setup that we've got on the NQ would be a short at the 25,345 area. All right, and I think I'm going to call it for the stream for today. It's about 10:50. I got an appointment at noon again. And again, it's like an hour drive for me. But all right, so let's leave you with what we've got on screen right now. We've got a short setup on the NQ at the 25,345, targeting the 25,339 and a quarter. Secondary target would be the 25,335. Let's just call it the 336, just to make things easier. And to the downside, do we have anything? Yes, we do. And then we've got a long possibility at the 25,069 and 3/4. That's a, price action would have to make a big move to the downside to get to there. And that would be targeting the 25,075 and 079 with the stop placed at 25,060. And then on the ES, remember, I left you guys with this setup. This setup was already kind of played out for me. Our original entry was at the 88s. Okay, so that could still be in play, but right now you've got a big pocket that's sitting right at the 67.90. Very tight stop, 67.92, 75, targeting the 27.86. This is a very low cost trade. I would consider maybe a B- setup at this point. I'll leave this line up here. My signal service group, they already have this set up, and it was still set at the 88, so I'll just leave that one there. Again, we didn't tap into the 88s, but the 88s have also diminished quite significantly. Now it's the 87. We've got some good area. And the 90s are strong, but the 90s are the last layer right here, people. Okay, so I don't want people to take this trade. You get a spike right up into your TP, into your stop loss, and you guys are thinking, what the hell just happened? The 67.90s is your last layer of defense here. Again, it's a very cheap trade, 2 points, 2.5 points of stop, and you've got some decent targets behind you. To the upside, I've got a long setup at the 67.36, targeting 67.39 with the stop at 67.31. And then below that, we've got the 67.16, targeting the 18, TP2, 19. Again, I think I've already beaten the horse here a few times. This is probably a B setup, B+ setup. So this was our A+ setup. I've been stalking this one for almost a day, and finally was able to profit from it, which I would grade my trade here maybe a B-. Footprint confirmation was right up here. I ended up getting right here, but we got that big momentum to the downside. So I can't be too mad with myself. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Again, I'll be on stream each morning, 8:30 a.m. You'll be able to see all these A+ setups, my methodology on what I'm thinking about my take profits and my stop losses. And if you're considering purchasing a funded account or an evaluation account, either through Apex, Funding Ticks, Tradeify, or Take Profit Pro, Take Profit, I would really appreciate you guys using the code TraderRob. That helps out the channel a little bit. And most importantly, before I go off, I say it every day, I should be saying it more during the stream. My wife says I don't say it enough. Please like the stream. Just one click of the button on the phone or on your computer, or however the heck you're watching it. It helps me. It helps YouTube. Help get discovered to other people that hopefully are like-minded like you guys, and have the same thought process behind trading. So I would appreciate that. Clint Eastwood, thanks for joining. Jeff, awesome. Floki, Key 39, Mike, you're awesome, man. You've saved me so much. I appreciate it. Key 39, Morgan, Danny. Who else we got on here? Probably missing Fern. Beautiful wife from Mina. Thanks everybody for the support. I'll see you guys here tomorrow.